just for the record.
Steve and Dodie Thetford, 26 Pasco Ave, Queensbury.
Thank you. Now I've got to swear both of you in so we can talk officially.
What the assessment was last year.
Thanks. What was the assessment last year?
It was 46.6.
Wow. Oh, it was 46.
This one got away from me, I'll admit it.
Let me swear you in, so
Yes.
we're perfectly legal.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear that the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you. Good. We can save you a couple minutes. Is anybody here who doesn't remember this case?
Oh, I remember it well.
You've seen all the pictures?
Suzanne might not remember, or Bill.
I don't remember it.
This is the case of the people who live on Pasco Avenue, and there's a business going there. And business is supposed to keep all the vehicles on the business property, but they line the streets and they put them all over the place.
Technically,
Right next to your house.
technically, code says that any vehicle that is not roadworthy or can pass is supposed to be behind the fence.
Yes.
So is what they did was they made the code so, say if I had a retail license, that I could have a roadworthy vehicle out in the front is basically what that's for. But anything that's in parts, that's not roadworthy is supposed to be behind a fence.
If it's not registered, it's technically not roadworthy either.
Yeah.
The rule used to say if it's not registered, it can't be in a residential area. That's what it
You're
used to
only
say.
allowed one unregistered vehicle in your yard, and that was it.
Yeah, but not on the road.
Definitely not.
How does the town let them get away with it?
Oh, no.
It's not,
There's a
it's
situation.
an ongoing situation.
You want to hear the truth about it?
Let's be
Yes.
careful because you're live, so
Well-
just for your own safety.
Well, is the man in charge of code enforcement going back the first time that I went to the town on it 25 years ago? He was code enforcement 16 years prior to that. For some reason, that junkyard, he has never totally enforced code up there. So therefore, when he went to his little higher position and the other guys take over, I think the thing is they're not gonna go up there and do it because the guy that's in charge never enforced it. So they kind of are just following suit because they don't want to probably catch rations over going against what their bosses,
It's a very difficult situation.
I can make this an easy one because this did get away from me, slipped under the radar, and I would agree to go back to the 46.6.
Good.
Is that what you're asking for?
I'm being fair. I mean, technically, we could go back to where at one time y'all had dropped it down to 38. But I'm just being fair.
It's a horrible
there's no,
nightmare.
you can't honestly say my property's going up in value,
No,
Well, officially, we need a number that you're.
Do we have it?
he's been
Oh, he did put that
46.6
down.
since
Oh, I didn't know that's what
2015.
he was- Oh, there it is, I'm sorry.
The number is what, 46 something?
Right, 46.6.
We can't officially make a final decision tonight.
yeah.
We have to go to our
You
private
said
meeting.
everything is supposed to be behind a fence,
Yeah.
and I don't see a fence. Do they have a fence?
Yeah.
They do have one.
If you,
That would be a high fence, a hidden.
Right, no, I know, because the same thing happened on Dix Avenue, and they had to clean things up and put everything behind a fence. But that's the thing here, I can't see.
Are they officially licensed as a junkyard?
yeah.
It's off of Sherman
Renews their
Avenue.
license every year.
Out
Way up,
Sherman,
Way up.
Way up.
Here's a mobile home right here.
before West Mountain
The
Road.
original fence is supposed to be.
Well,
About kind of half.
it's like in the,
Yeah.
And see, and technically,
That's the best.
I can show you the tax map. That road technically goes to the back of the junk.
It's been going on
And
for
it's always
years.
supposed to maintain it open for fire access. But even the paved part, they paved up to where the original junkyard was, and they put a hydrant up there. Well, as you can see, you can't even
Can't see that.
You can't even get up the road. I mean, hell,
there's a huge-
there is a dumpster in the road. And that's why 25 years ago, I had to do something and go to the town because there was literally like tires piled in the road. I mean, technically, it would be
Yeah,
fair.
sometimes you back out the driveway too. There's cars, just junk cars just lined up. the back of the driveway.
Is anyone living in this trailer?
Which one? This one?
There is.
Yeah, you can see that there's a fence.
It's a junkyard.
That's like years ago, I had to
It's,
fence my yard off because people were backing
Mosier.
in my yard to turn around because
Pete
there's no.
Mosier.
I feel so
Someone
bad.
in that
I
trailer.
really, really do.
Yep.
Okay, wow. Looks like there's another trailer.
But yes, I do apologize because that got away from me.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to lower your estimate here? We'll give you that chance before you turn it in. We can't go any lower than what you have asked under the law. If you ask for a lower number, you potentially could go down that low.
Didn't we?
Like I
If
said,
you want to take a shot at a lower number, we may end up where we were or higher, but
I even tried to get a realty guy to come up there. I did the one last time,
Yeah.
and she went up there and she goes, I can't even put a price on it. And this time I just got totally stood up. You didn't even go up there.
No parking sign there.
you want to change your number on the form? Was it 46 something now?
46.6 right now.
That's what it was last year. It went up to 73.3, but, you know,
I hear you.
my recommendation would be back to 46.6.
You want to try to go lower? You can't possibly go lower if you don't change it. If you change it, make it lower, then it could possibly go down lower.
If we have a good night next week, you might get less.
I mean,
Listen to this board.
I can,
They have the form up there.
You have the form here.
well, I was just looking to go any lower, just to be fair. I could go to what it was at one time.
It was at,
It's your
the
choice.
lowest it's been is 38,200.
Yeah, 38.
You want to change it?
I mean,
Why don't you
38,200, I'm
change it
sorry,
to the-
38,200.
If you change it, right there, just cross that off with one line and put in the number and put your initials next to it, please. You may be surprised. Thank you. Any further questions? Let you go home early tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
How do you like that for
Okay.
input?
You guys have a good day, then. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
You'll get something in a
You
couple of
too.
weeks.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you for putting up with all this.
You need to,
This is upsetting to say the least. Are those more pictures? We'll put them right in here.
Okay, Nancy?
okay, Nancy Reagan.
Be right with you. No problem. Let's go here.
This property is 55 Jenkinsville Road.
5 Jenkins.
Just one second, please.
Okay, yep.
Just get right here. Just go like this. And here like this. Okay, thank you. This goes in that one too?
Yeah.
This goes in that one too?
And Nancy, do you have your grievance form itself? Because they're gonna want that. Yep, yep. Here, okay, I'll take you. Do you have the number down there? Okay, yep, you do.
Okay, if you first, please, on the microphone, tell us your name, your address, and the property you're talking about.
Nancy Regan. It's 55 Jenkinsville Road in Queensbury.
I will guess what you're already coming to talk about. I'm going to swear you in, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a retired fireman.
That does not sound good.
The chief went by who wanted Do you solemnly swear that the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Now,
now
please.
I'll give you, I'm going to give you it, and then she can, it's 55 Jenkinsville. They did have a building permit for a detached garage. You'll see a picture here that it's a new detached garage. So her assessment had been 155.6. 33,000 is the increase for the garage. The detached is big, detached garage, you'll see the picture. And then $10,000 is just not physical, it's equalization, it's just because of the reval with the sales and stuff.
So what is the total?
So the total is 43,000.
So
There is her-
198.6?
She's 198.8. This is the garage when it was being built.
It's 43, 198.
It's a nice garage.
The big garage.
She's at 198.8, and she's asking for 178.1.
71. Okay. Please tell us why you feel you should get a reduction.
Well, first of all, I don't even have 23,000 into the garage.
Did you build it
And that's
yourself?
including the 2,370 for the garage doors, which haven't even came yet.
Did you build it yourself?
No, a friend of mine did.
Okay, and you paid this friend?
Well, my husband, before he passed, had done the cement slab.
Okay,
And he was planning on building the whole thing himself. But unfortunately, by the time we got through the committee and everything got approved for it, that was in September
this past September?
of 2019.
Okay,
And unfortunately, it was the middle of September when he ended up getting sick, and he died December 16
Sorry to hear that.
of 19. So unfortunately, when he passed, I had all the roof trusses there, all the tin, the lumber, I had everything there. But unfortunately, it took me a while to find somebody that would end up doing it.
yes.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get my brothers, so I said I ended up calling a cousin of mine, and a friend of his ended up coming over and building it, and actually, it's still not complete as of today.
Is the assessor's office aware that it's not complete?
We have it as, had it as complete as of, let me say the date. I'm not sure, I don't see a CO, but as of January, we had it as complete. It's 1,080 square feet. And I do have it as a D grade, like an economy grade garage.
Okay.
I don't have it
No
as a,
doors? It hasn't had any doors?
No, there's no garage doors up to it yet. I actually just got the 3 windows put in it 2 weeks ago.
Okay. What else is missing to make it finished? The roof is all done?
The roof is done, the trusses are done, the siding is done. I just got the windows put in, so they're done. But there's nothing inside, it's just the framing. There's no, like, insulation, there's no plywood, sheetrock, anything at all. There's nothing done at all.
Just bare bones
Okay.
inside.
There's nothing
Just a
done
shell?
inside. It's
Just a shell.
just a shell.
Just the shell, that's it.
Is there power in there?
No,
Oh, you don't have power?
no, not as of yet, no. That's what I said, it's not complete.
guess they didn't realize that when they went out there.
Do you
Yeah.
have any idea?
I know they come out and inspected the framing and the trusses, I do know that.
Do you have any idea how much you have put into it?
Well, with the garage doors and stuff, it's $22,231.85.
That you
But-
have spent on it?
Right,
Pretty close. Good
that's
estimate.
including the slab, everything, yep.
Okay.
Materials,
That's materials, everything, the labor, all that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, like I said, that's including the garage doors, which is 2,300, which, with the way it is, I mean, they came first and they sent 10 foot. They had to go back, then they sent 8 foot, so they went back. So
Oh, boy.
unfortunately now it's still,
You've
we've
had fun
switched to
with
a
this.
different company, and unfortunately with the way it is trying to get stuff to the service, the parcel post and stuff, it's like, they're so backed up that I don't even know. I was guaranteed 3 weeks ago they'd be here, but I haven't heard anything.
Wow.
So certainly as of March 1st, I guess it wasn't complete.
No, it was not.
No, it's not.
Let me ask you this, you're in Jenkinsville.
Yes.
Are you anywhere near the water issue?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Has your well been tested?
Not yet, no. I mean, my brother-in-law owns Rosick Well Drilling,
Good
so
company, great company.
I've asked him, if we should have it tested. And he said, well, unless he asked me if I had gotten a letter from the town. I said, not as of yet, no. Because my daughter's telling me the same thing. Mom, you don't drink this water. So I've been buying bottled water because my daughter's, such a panic about it. She goes, Mom, aren't you reading the paper? I said, no, I try to stay away from it, too much drama.
The state, when the state comes to test it, it's my understanding the state pays.
I assume so, but I don't know, they don't have parameters yet.
Right. but
You know what I
when
mean? They're
if
going
they
out.
do, You can ask the state to do it. Otherwise, I don't know what that particular test is, but I've seen water tests cost $1,500.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
When you start doing it for the fancy chemicals. I
Yep.
would maybe make a call to them and say, I'd like my water tested.
Right, that's what I'm thinking, so it's gonna be kinda hard to try to even sell this property with the water situation right now.
No.
It would be very difficult.
I think so.
We're trying to decide
May I have the folder, please?
how to, what the fair market value is. If you're anywhere near Jenkinsville, the name comes up. We don't know yet. We don't know if people are gonna just stay away from it.
Well, that's it, we don't know, until it's all completely, done with it and everybody's been tested. I mean, it's something that we don't know as of right now, but.
But what you're telling us, you'd be happy to see the assessment at 178, 100.
Well, right around there. I mean, it's just like, I know I don't have that much into the garage, and it's not complete as of yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I was under the impression that they thought it was complete as.
We did
as
think it
well.
was
That's-
complete.
That's what I thought.
That's exactly what we thought.
But my contractor, unfortunately, I work days. By the time I get out of work, I don't see him, so. It's just like a talk over the phone deal.
It's not nearly as much fun as in person.
No, definitely not.
Two.
Any of you have any questions?
No.
Well, I was just looking at your previous assessment. The last time assessment was 2002, was it, Terry?
No.
Okay,
No.
this is what I have here.
There are those,
Yeah, that's old.
yes.
Yeah.
They,
I'd say it was 3 years ago.
it was 3 years ago, 2018.
Yeah.
But she went from 140 to 155.6 last time,
Okay.
about
So
$15,000.
she hasn't been near 170 before today.
No,
Never, no.
Let me say to you the same as I said to the
And I've done
last people.
improvements, because this is what it looked like when I bought it.
Oh, wow.
That's when I bought it.
Quite a difference.
Big difference.
Let me say the same thing to you as I said to the last people. We're required by law to make a decision. The lowest price we can come back with, value we come back with, is the number you put here. We can come somewhere between here and we can't go any higher than the 190 something,
198.8.
190, you can't go higher than that. We can't get any lower than this.
Right.
If you were to put a lower number here, we could theoretically go that low, or somewhere between where we are and that number.
Right.
So if you want to change this number and make it a lower number of your choice,
Okay.
you could do that right now.
Yeah, I don't ever do this. My husband always took
Well,
care of this
so-
for me.
That's why I'm trying to, you can make a decision now, you can make any number you want. It could be 0, it could be 100,000, it could be,
You could go back to the 155, 600 that
back
you
to
were
one-
at before.
Okay.
so if you wanna do it, come up and do it now. You just cross this off with one line and
I've
put
been
in,
fully vaccinated, but I just don't know when I'm
good, so
gonna.
Good.
you just cross
We
it
all
off
are
with
too.
one line and put a new price underneath it or above it and just put your initials next to it. And that'll be, everybody's being treated equally.
You will next year.
So maybe you'll get lucky.
Maybe. Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll get it done before I come back in.
She got that next year.
She's putting down 155.
But you gotta take this and
Which
have
is where
that
she was
garage.
before.
Right.
And
You do?
it isn't finished. Unless you have any other questions, thank you for coming in.
Well, thank
Back
you
in
so
a
much
couple
for
of
your
weeks.
time, I appreciate
It
it.
takes a couple weeks, and they'll make a decision, and they'll get something in the mail.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Don't
you.
trip on your thing there hanging
Have a
down.
wonderful evening.
Thank you.
So you gotta add 20, I'd say you have to add 20,000 at least.
We can,
To
we
what it
don't,
is.
we don't have anything till 6:45.
Have a good night.
Oh my God.
6:45?
6:45.
That's 20
So you can,
minutes.
Who's in charge of scheduling around here?
Why don't the two of you, when we turn this off, the two of you go out, maybe we talk about.
I'll
this
go out and you
stuff
guys
again.
can talk.
right with you?
This next property is 128 Sunnyside North.
Hang on one second, please. Still in these forms.
Do you have the tax ID number?
Yep, it is 27917-2-7.
Thank you.
He's got the grievance form with him. This one I'll just take off because it doesn't have the information he want on it.
Okay, sorry to keep you waiting. We just finished up a little piece of work here.
He did, Mr. Stevens, actually, I'll start back here. It's 128 Sunnyside North. He bought this in August of '20 for $167. That was we had it on our transfer papers as an estate sale. So it's not something that we can use for valuation. You know, we don't use it as a comp because it was an estate sale. So it was a trustee's deed. Okay? It is a colonial that was built in 1940, been updated to about 1980, 1,332 square feet. And he also did submit an appraisal here. Unfortunately, what I like to do, and I think I explained to him, that I like to try to use what the comps the appraisal used, so that I can try to mimic the same results. But the appraisal used 3 properties not in Queensbury. One in Fort Anne, one in Argyle, and one in Granville. But the appraisal did come in at $175.
What's his current assessment?
The current assessment's $209,500, but I had offered him a stipulation to $180,600.
That was not accepted?
Right. And he's got the grievance form there, so. This is the appraisal,
Is he on
and
the lake?
this is my appraisal. He's on Sunnyside.
He's on the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Is there a road between you and the water?
No.
Let's swear him in.
Yes, I better do that. Just, boy, for the record, will you please state your name and your address? Just into the microphone.
Robert Stevens, 128 Sunnyside North, Queensbury, New York, 12804.
Stevens?
Yeah.
PH.
PH.
PHEN.
Or PH? Oh, good, that's the correct way it's supposed to. As it says on my thing here.
It's on here.
Okay, I need to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we haven't seen anything before you came in just now, so tell us the story, please.
The square footage she has, when I had it assessed, the square footage isn't correct. It's 1,248 square feet, not 1,332.
We would have taken that off the building plan, the blueprints that were at the time it was built. So we have 1332. I can send out a data collector to.
Okay, I mean, I was just.
Check that.
They came out and took all these pictures and.
Did they measure?
They measured it all. They have all those measurements here in the back.
Okay, great.
If you want a copy of that.
I think we have that with your
Okay.
appraisal.
All right. So I just figured the square footage, and I looked at a neighbor a couple down, and theirs is appraised at 165.6, and their square footage is 1,152, and they have large garage, and I do not have a garage on my property. And I figured that comparably, that I would be somewhere in, compared to that.
What is your proposed assessment?
I put,
He's got it.
I put 160, because theirs was 165.6, because they have a two-car garage with a loft.
But what did you put on it?
I originally put 209.5 on it.
209,500?
And then I offered a stip to
8,600.
186.
180,600.
180,600.
He wants,
160.
I went around 160-ish. I mean, I bought it for 158. The extra was closing cost. It wasn't,
160 is you want.
yeah.
Did you write that number?
Yeah, I wrote that on the form.
160, okay.
when did you buy it?
In August
Oh,
2020.
just in August.
Yeah, last year.
How much frontage do you have on the lake?
How much what?
How much
Frontage?
frontage?
I got
60.
60?
60 by 189.
60, yep.
Yeah,
Road frontage, 108. They have the land, they're comparable for all the land. I looked at all the neighbors around the whole lake. It's comparable. My lot's a little bigger, so I got that. That's 70 compared to theirs, 64. But compared to like that one, it just seems like mine's high because I don't have a garage and stuff, you know. And my square footage is only 100 difference.
Is the assessment based with the thought that he has a garage?
No.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
No, I mean, you know, obviously, I looked at what the appraisal had. I couldn't use those, but I did rerun the appraisal. And we have on our, you know, we have that he paid 167. I know some of that is closing costs, but that's usually in there anyway. So I thought that the one, and his appraisal came in at 175. So I thought 180 was a fair stipulation.
So his appraisal came in at 175?
Yes.
Yeah,
Who was the
this-
local appraiser?
You've got it there.
Right here.
It's Veterans
This is the
Veterans
appraisal.
United.
that you had done.
Veterans United Home Loans from MCE Appraisal, Ralph Road, way up in the hills.
They're always going to appraise it a little more than your whole value because I rolled the taxes into it and stuff like that. So my whole loan was 171 something. That's including 9,000 closing costs and my taxes for the year. So they're going to approve it a couple thousand more than that if it's within reason, you know? So
Okay, I don't have this time to study it now, but we will look at it.
But you did say that you paid 158?
158, yes, correct.
This is on
Oh, I
Glen
thought you
Lake.
said 160.
167 is what
150.
we have on the transfer document.
158 and 9,000 closing should say
Yeah,
it right in
okay.
there.
Oh, plus the closing, right.
Right, yeah. That's all the fees for the, you know.
This is on Glen Lake.
No.
No, Sunnyside.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got a
You got it
steal.
on Gun Lake and on,
Jeepers, I
He's
thought you
stylish.
had a heck of a deal there.
Really good shit.
I know,
Change that.
yeah.
Okay, any further questions? We're gonna meet in secret next week,
Okay,
and we'll discuss all this.
all right.
We'll come up with an answer.
Okay, so you
You'll
just
get
want,
a letter from Terry, hopefully within 2
Yeah, he needs the grievance form.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there any other information that we might need that you have?
I think you have, I just printed out like, the neighbors, one, it's got mine on there as well. And then just like Realtor.com for what mine was and, Zillow, like,
We have that all in the form?
no, I don't think so. No, she should have had the Realtor.com one. It should have been in the packet
Yeah, we
already.
have that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And I just printed out the neighbors one too, but I don't know if you really needed that.
Here's the part that you have to do.
Yes.
And where's my part? We're not doing that yet. We're not doing that. We're not doing that one. Okay. You got this and this?
Okay, you'll get a notice from the Board of Review in a couple weeks.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
You want to leave those extra?
Thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah.
We'll give them to you.
You'll get those back after. When we mail them back to them, Terry, can we
What?
mail this extra and go back to him?
Anything he wants.
Yeah, whatever.
That's the neighbor's one, 122. This is, so this is the one you should already have, realtor.com.
Yeah.
This was the assessment roll with mine, and then the neighbor's is
Oh, great,
165 right there.
perfect. And then this is good.
And so, and then this was the same thing, should have been already in there, the, thing that shows the lower square footage compared to what they say it's on the book, so I don't know how to change that, because they measured it all up to 1,200.
Okay,
Okay,
All right.
that's a good thing.
we'll mail it all back to you.
All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Such a pretty little lake. It's more like a pond, but it's,
Is that called Sunnyside Lake?
yeah.
Sunnyside,
Lake
yeah.
Sunnyside, yep.
Lake Sunnyside.
Not to be confused with Glen Lake.
No.
Or
Not quite. I mean, maybe someday.
Not Lake George either.
Okay, 6:45 is our phone call.
Yes.
And-
This will be number 23 for the day.
I'll just give you the
What's the
information
address?
before I get on the phone.
What's the address?
It is 85 Hannaford Road.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. We used to have Mrs. Hannaford come in to see us years ago.
This is a brand new, well, essentially brand new ranch that they rebuilt the house. They took it down to the studs. They paid
Yes?
I
$515.
have another quick question. So I can sign that, so after it's all done, then I come back and sign?
You don't need to sign.
Oh, okay, all right. I just-
No, because then it's their decision.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Yep. Pictures in here. They paid $515 in March of 18.
That's as an old building that had
No,
to be torn
no,
down?
no. It had, at one point, it had been listed in 2014 for $798,000.
Did she
The
get,
old house?
No, the new one.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
did she get a dock on the lake with that?
They have 40 feet of lake shore, but it's across the road.
Across the road, yeah.
Okay? So I have the 40 feet of lake shore only at 60% of value.
Okay,
Then they have the primary lot where that house is, up on Hannaford Road, and because of topography, I have that at 70%.
Oh, great.
Okay? Here, and I'll bring this to you, and they're asking 500.
and what did you offer them?
They didn't talk to me, they just filed.
Okay, what did you send to them?
I didn't send them anything.
What is their assessment?
Oh, what their assessment is?
Yes.
585 too.
585.
They had been, in 18, they were 526. So they went up 11%.
So, and they're asking for 500.
And they're asking for 500.
And they want 500.
Yeah. So I'll call them now. Here is the appraisal. This is the house that they redid here. And there's their form.
Land was at 80%, of course.
Thank you, Jerry.
Lake one is 60%. They only have 40 feet.
Slope is it?
And I will call that now. This is on.
So, what's the house built?
It was built in 1940. Hold on a second. It was built in 1940, but it was taken to the studs and rebuilt starting in 2000.
Oh, so it was, I thought you said it was taken down. but-
No, it wasn't, it went down to the studs.
Just the
I mean,
studs,
you could
Oh, it
see
did,
through
they
the wall.
gutted
Yeah.
it, okay.
Yeah.
So the foundation's the same, obviously.
It's only crawl space.
Right,
Yeah.
but there is the same foundation?
Yep.
So they didn't have to get the special permits from the Lake George Park Commission?
Okay.
Makes sense.
This is Jennifer Karen, I guess.
Company of mine, making sure.
Paid $515 for it in 18.
May hang up or press 1 for more options.
Mr. Caron, it's Terry Ross, the assessor from the town of Queensbury, here with the Board of Assessment Review. We had a 6:45 phone appointment about your property on Hannaford Road. I'm going to give you my cell phone number. It's 518-744-1067. If you get this message in the next few minutes, we do have a 7 o'clock appointment, but if you get this message, please call my cell phone and I will then recall you to do your conference call. Thank you.
Now, did the man from this morning call back when we were trying to?
Nope, not that I know of. Not yet. Nope.
They don't seem to care enough to,
Probably just forgot.
But that one, if he,
We had a man a few years ago.
no, and he didn't even file a form, because if he'd at least filed the form, you could still look at it. Even though he didn't make the, like these people, you can still make a decision on them, because they got the form
Form.
in here.
yeah.
But that guy didn't even submit the form, so you can't do anything.
This is no answer, okay? No answer on the phone.
This was done in 17, this appraisal.
Yeah, they bought it in 18.
Got in 69.
Okay.
The next one
We
I'm
only
gonna
have-
sit out.
Charlotte Potvin apparently, and Frank Ovett.
Got it? Come Charlotte.
Young lady, step right up. Well, we just finished.
Bill, did you turn it off or no?
I did not turn it on.
You do not have the form.
Do you have your form?
I've got it here.
You've got it.
She emailed it to me.
No, but this last one.
They said
We don't have.
just go sit out there.
Well, you're gonna need to go on tape of saying you're recusing yourself.
Okay.
So once she gets sworn in.
Then I
you can
say
do
I'm
that, yes.
This is the one that just talked.
No.
Yes, you do have the form for that somewhere.
Okay.
Have a seat.
Clear now.
I think,
Am I gonna talk on that?
Yes, you are.
I am.
when you get a minute.
I've never spoken in the mic in my life.
Wow.
Okay.
It's really exciting.
Shall I take care of the swearing in?
You can swear in because then, yeah.
For the record, please state your name and your home address.
Charlotte Potvin, 153 Birdsall Road,
Oh, this
Queensbury.
guy's calling back. I'm sorry. The guy that we just tried to
We were
call.
supposed to talk to a man on the phone. Would
Oh,
you
he's
just
calling you.
No,
wait for a moment, please?
sure.
He wasn't there at the time that was, turn.
Mr. Karen, or Mrs. Karen? Hi. Oh,
It's our second confusion.
right, because we're on a different phone. So I will call you right back on the conference call phone, okay? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Technology's good sometimes. We're on live TV right now, whether it's on,
YouTube.
Peter, is this on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. Okay.
Put lipstick on.
Take this one.
This is back to Karen, the Hannaford Road one.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, are you done with that?
That's why
Do the
we're gonna drop it.
first one.
You can stay right there.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Karen, this is Terry Ross.
Hi. Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you? They're here with the Board of Assessment Review with Chairman Steve Borges, Joan Jenkins, Scott Sorger, Suzanne Monahan, and Bill Mason. I think the first thing that Mr. Borges, the chairman, is going to do is swear you in.
Okay.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Do you solemnly swear that the information you are about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. Now, please tell us why you're here other than to have questions about your assessment.
Why I'm here? I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
What are,
Why am I here for the
do you
assessment?
have a particular concern about the assessment?
I do. My concerns are pretty straightforward. I was given the 4 properties that my property was compared to, and none of the properties seem to fit into the same lakefront genre that I'm being compared to, meaning the 4 properties all had direct lake access, meaning they could walk out their front door and walk to their dock. And I don't have that actual benefit. I have to walk down 115 stairs, cross Pilot Knob Road to get to my lake access. And the second piece is that the homes I was being compared to, 3 of them out of the 4 were year-round homes, where mine is seasonal.
When you say seasonal, do you have heat and water there?
Did you hear
I
the
don't
question?
have road access. I don't have public road access, but I do have heat. So nobody plows my road in the winter.
So you're on a private road then?
Correct.
But it's at the end of Hannaford.
At the end of Hannaford.
Right. And Mr.
Correct.
Cameron, I did just explain to the board that we're taking into consideration your waterfront. That's only at 60% of value because of, the roads in between you and the waterfront. And then the site where your house is being built is at 70% of value because of the topography.
And how does that topography compare to the 4 other comparables?
Well, that would be taken into consideration in the appraisal.
And so and I'm just trying to understand the inputs here. We just had the end of the street sell for 422, which is a much larger home, same lakefront setup generally, maybe a little different topography. And they are considerably less, $180,000 less.
And what's that address, sir?
That is 5 Hannaford Road.
Same time.
Need one more hand?
Just one.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I just want to look this up for him. Five Hannaford Road. I don't have a sale on that. Did you say there was a sale on that, sir?
Yeah, I think it's so recent and may not have been updated into the database. I have it here as 422, and I know it just sold because people moved out and other people moved in. So I don't have the exact figure on that, but I also have a similar setup property to mine over on Sealy Road that their taxes actually went down, and it's a larger home with larger acreage and direct access to the lake.
Okay, what one's on Sealy Road, sir?
That is number 8, Sealy, S-E-E-L-Y-E, Road North.
Yep. 8 Sealy North.
And he's assessed at 488.
That doesn't
and
have
it's
any
a
water.
2-story home with a garage.
That doesn't have any waterfront.
It does have waterfront. You can walk from the house directly to the dock.
It doesn't own waterfront. There's no waterfront. They don't own it. They may have access, but they don't own the waterfront.
I'm saying that our waterfront is what their base is the value.
Right, but they own a dock on that waterfront that they walk to.
I know. There must be an easement that goes through there.
Right. Or they have a right-of-way, something they have to get to it. I don't think I have a dock for them.
So
I don't have a dock either.
for 87 Hannaford Road, which is my neighbor, smaller home, but topography-wise should be very similar. Also a seasonal home. and they have to walk across Pilot Knob Road to get to their dock. They're at 118,000 currently. Or no, that's what it's going to. So my house, square footage wise, is, we'll just call it almost double. But
87 Hannaford does not own waterfront either. And it's
Yes, they do.
Yes, they have the same, when I look at the surveys, they have the same setup that I have.
They don't own waterfront. 87 Hannaford does not own any waterfront. I don't know if they may have a separate parcel that they own down there, but that is a seasonal residence that was built in 35 and was only updated to 45, where your house was essentially new, but was redone.
How do you define waterfront?
They have to own the lakeshore. It'd have to be in their deed that they own the lakeshore, however many feet. Like you own 40 feet. In your deed, it will say that you own 40 feet of lakeshore. They could have a right-of-way. I don't know. I don't have that they have a right-of-way.
They have the same setup as us because they're right next door to us. It's the same exact setup we have that you're calling.
Let me see if they own another separate lot. Hold on, I'll look at their name and I will search that way. They could own a separate lot, which would be assessed separately.
Yeah, I think it's Tatio, T-A-T-I-O.
T-A-T, yep, I got it. Spell one-handed. Yes, they own a vacant lot with a dock on Pilot Knob Road. We have that assessed at $103,000.
Okay.
Have that in their house.
Is that added to their, is that included already?
No, it's separate. There's two separate lots, two separate tax map numbers, two separate
Okay, so
deeds.
they're taxed differently.
And
Okay,
they have 4 feet. They only have 4 feet on the lake. You have 40. Actually, I'm sorry. They have 30 feet. I'm sorry. They have 30 feet on the lake. 30 feet on the lake, and they have a dock. I looked at the dock.
Right.
The dock's 4 by 40, so I just thought that was the lakeshore.
Okay. Yeah, and then 81 Hannaford Road, they have to have the same frontage as us.
Okay.
They gotta be close,
Let me look.
because they're right next door, and they actually have 2 lots.
They have exactly 40 feet of lakeshore like you do, and they're at 60% of value like yours is, yes.
Okay, and they're at 536.
Right, they were built it's a cottage built in 1925, no central heat, and it has only been updated to 1968, where yours was totally gutted and redone in 2000, whatever, right before you bought it. Like 2013, I think, is when it was redone.
Yeah, they did.
So your land value's gonna be pretty darn close to what theirs
They said they
is.
gutted it, but they didn't. But anyway, that's argumentative. So again, we've gone up since we purchased it, and 3 years ago, it's gone up almost 15%. It just doesn't seem fair to have that much of a tax rate in that amount of time, and the comparables just didn't make sense to us.
Now, we didn't have really good, and I do admit that we didn't have really great comparables on the lake for seasonal residences, and nothing where the road was in between.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get 580 for that house. I know I can't.
No, and also, we were told that the average was 11% across the board increase.
10.
We're not a yearly house.
It was 10%. It was 10% was the average for the entire town. I do admit the lakes went up probably more than that because the sales went up more than that.
Yeah. Well, if you can't compare us to other comparables like us, and we're giving you what our neighbors are, we should be around the same way as them because we have the same exact footprint and prohibitions that they have as far as only being able to use it. The town doesn't plow our roads. You don't maintain it. You don't have to plow it. You don't have to pave it. You don't have to do anything to it. So we don't get services. Our kids don't go to school there. I know this has nothing to do with school taxes, but I mean, we are not living up there year round in that home as other lakefront people do.
Yeah, it's prohibitive, and that's not a selling
That's not
point.
a selling point. So we could sell our house for what you're saying that that you increased us to.
And that were very well may be true. I'm certainly not infallible, for sure.
Right.
But you did pay $515 for it, I believe, in
Yeah.
17
we
or
overpaid
18.
because we got a better bidding
Bidding
war.
war.
That's us being stupid.
So, I mean, I did notice that you asked for 500, which is less than what you paid for it 3 years ago.
Yeah,
What would you sell it
if
for
I had to
now?
sell it today, I don't know if I could get $515 back for it.
One of the board members, Suzanne, just did ask what you would, what do you think you could sell it for?
Well, it depends how fast you want to sell it, right? I mean, we could ask a little over the $515, but if we talk to our real estate agent up there from Davies and Davies, and to get rid of it quickly, we'd be in the low 500s.
Is that right around 500?
Any more questions?
No further questions here. We'll consider all this information, and we'll have a decision sometime next week.
Well, we thank you for your time.
Thank you for listening and explaining it to us, because we know it's not cookie cutter, so that's why we're having the discussion.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
They'll be meeting next week. It usually is a week or two before they make a decision, and you'll get a notice in the mail.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for working so late. Appreciate it.
No problem. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We're 5 minutes behind your schedule. Sorry.
Okay.
We had this set for 6:45, and we tried to call them, and left a message.
That's all right.
So, just for the record, you state your, did you already do that? Your name and address, I think you did that.
I did.
Okay. You have to swear you in.
And now you're ready to swear. Yep.
Do you solemnly swear that the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, for the record, I have to say, I don't know yet if this disqualifies me or not, but I have to go on the record as saying it. I think we might still be okay. I know Charlotte Putnam. She's a longtime realtor. Her husband is my dentist. I don't think that disqualifies me.
You're being very lenient.
One of my sons is married to Charlotte's husband's sister. No direct relationship.
But you know them very well.
I know them fairly well. I've never been to your house, and it's certainly not the new one, and I don't know if I was ever in any of the old ones.
I don't think so.
So, as this goes on, if it gets to the point where we're iffy, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But I think I'm okay. You had a concern.
I think I should recuse myself because I talked to Charlotte about property.
Okay.
I know Charlotte, I just feel like I shouldn't be here.
Okay.
Okay, so she'll come back at the end.
Okay.
We'll listen to
I'll
the
get
things
ya.
you said.
But she won't be able to make any deliberations.
No.
Right.
Okay, this is 153 Birdsall Road. On Glen Lake, they have 126 feet of waterfront. It's a contemporary home with 3,935 square feet. That includes a walkout finished basement. And it was purchased in November of '20 for $1.225 million. I had originally put an assessment on it of 1.1355.
1.1355.
355.
Okay.
And after speaking with Mrs. Potvin, and Ted and I went out to inspect the property. I then reran the appraisal and offered her a stipulation to 1,000.
No.
1 million, sure, 1,000. 1,028,400.
1,028,400.
400. Yes. And the two appraisals are here. The first one I did and the second one I did. Her forms here, she's asking $750,000, and also what the latest one that the latest comments that she sent today.
Okay. What do you believe your assessed value should be? What would you like to see that?
I would like to see, I don't know if you've had a chance to read what I sent over.
750,000, see?
No,
Well-
we haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No, we
haven't
just,
read it.
Oh, okay, all right, well,
You can read it.
okay. Our assessment went up 75%. That's why I was laughing at this guy, like 15, really? We did pay 1.225 in 2020. We paid more probably than the house would have been worth 2 years before, but we sold 2 properties and we made way more on those than they would have sold because of this whole pandemic craziness. Anyway, our home is not more valuable than some of the other homes on Glen Lake that are assessed for less than us. We are also at the end of a road, Queensbury maintained road. We're actually called Birdsall Road Extension. The plows stop just before our house. They do turn around in our driveway because it's a dead end, but they don't sand, salt, they don't pave it, they don't sweep it in the spring. If it's a heavy snow, they'll plow enough for them to back up into our driveway and leave, but we take care of the maintenance on our road, which we were not aware of when we bought it.
Is it a year-round home?
It's a year-round home.
Oh, you are, you live there?
We do, yeah, yeah. It's right at the end, and there's one other house beyond us, and they get the snow like plowed up in their driveway, but they're in Florida, so they don't care.
let me stop you just for a minute. You say the assessment went up 75%. So when you bought it, you saw an assessment that was down in the 500 range, maybe?
It was 661,500.
61,500.
My point is, I mean, we can talk all day about you paid 1.2, you paid 1.2. However, my point is people who haven't sold their homes and are never going to sell their homes have an advantage because they're there, and I have a list of my neighbors whose homes are worth more than mine. The average increase they had was 9.5%. And the 4 recent sales on Glen Lake, the average increase was 70%. 77 Birdsall Road went up to 1.332 from 876 because it was recently sold. 95 Birdsall Road is a home that we owned. We sold it. We paid $320 for it. It's a 1-bedroom cabin down a very steep embankment, so steep we have a tram that has to take you down. Because they paid us $600 for it, their assessment went from $320 to $594. 175 Manus Road, which is a home that I sold, is 2 doors down. It was sold in it went up to $524,900 from $299,700, up 75%. And then ours went up 71%. I'm sorry, I said 75. So the average increase was 70%. It's smacking of welcome stranger to me because the homes that sold recently were dramatically increased. The homes that had not sold, their average went up 9.5%. One of those homes is, 165 Birdsall Road. It was $830,400, up from $735, 11%. 97 Birdsall Road, that was our old neighbor. He was assessed for $520, up from $463. I have a list, you have it in front of you, I could read them all night long, but the bottom line is, if the house didn't sell in the past 2 years, their assessment went up 9.5% was the average, from 8% to 5% to 14%. The 4 houses that did sell, the lowest was 51% to 85% increase. I just don't think it's fair that because we bought houses in the last 2 years, that our assessment should jump to close to what we paid for it, when all day long the other houses near me, one is a magnificent post and timber house that is larger than ours, beautiful, beautiful home, and they're assessed for less than us.
What is their assessment now?
They are, I should have put their names here. They must be it's the Sembrooks. It's $830,000 up from $735. But here's where it gets really interesting. When Terry came to my house, I said, why is my land assessment more than the Sembrooks. They have an acre, we have .56 acres. And she said, it's all about the lakefront, how much lakefront you have more than they do, okay? So I did a little research. 169 Manus Road, which is 3 houses away from us, is Jim O'Keefe's house. He has 286 feet of lakefront. We have 126. His assessment's less than ours, $950,000. 165 Manus Road, which is the Vittengills, they have 199 feet of lakefront, a covered boathouse and a party house with a kitchen on the shore. They're assessed for less than we are, $830,000. Then there's a house on Lake George that I'm very familiar with. We lived there for 13 years, 2930 Route 9L, Lake George. We sold it for $875,000. He has put a fortune in it. I've been in it. Whether he got permits for it or not, I don't know, but it's beautiful. 210 feet of waterfront on Dunham's Bay, he's assessed for less than we are, $986,000. So my problem with our assessment is I feel it's unequal compared to other homes on Glen Lake.
Do you have any comments?
I do. When
This is what we
we,
do. Have you been to one of these?
No, thank God.
It's exciting. It's almost like a boxing match. Look.
when we saw the listing, even before Mrs. Potman bought it, it was listed at $1.3 million. So we saw that they had a generator, they had 2 full baths, 2 half baths that had been updated interior, 500 square foot stone patio, propane. So we updated our inventory to reflect that. And that, I'm sure as realtor, you know, that a lot of times we don't know what's going on in a house until it's lit.
Can I just interject?
No, thank you. And we had and so we update inventory all the time. So while, believe me, the state is very well aware of welcome stranger, and it's never anything that we've been accused of doing, just assessing properties that have sold. That's why we do this every 3 years. But a lot of times we find out things that we didn't know. Now, we get our information straight from the building permits. If people don't get building permits, we don't know unless someone tells on them, okay? So after looking at her house, I realized it wasn't quite as nice as I thought it was. Went back, I looked at the land she wanted me to look at. I made her exactly like her neighbors. She has 126 feet of lakefront, but the neighbors near her are at 75% of value because of the topography and the location, you know. So I did that when I did the stipulation to
So
her.
when she's comparing her land value with the neighbor.
Right, and
Is your land value level?
the land value,
We have an incredibly steep access.
Okay.
Yes, we have, I believe it's 54 steps.
and that was something that we didn't have before. I'm trying to find her stipulation here where it had the original number. Oh, her land value we would reduce to 426.7. It had been 449.2, but we made it to match at 75% of value.
Will you tell Mrs. Potvin right now?
Yes.
How you calculate the value of
Yes.
lakefront on Glen Lake? I
Yes.
know it.
On Glen Lake, we do the first 50 feet at $5,600 a foot. The next 50 feet is $2,500 a foot. The next 100 feet is $1,700 a foot.
That should cover it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't cover for 169 Manus Road. It does cover it for 165.
But it covers for your sales.
Right, but I mean, compared to the 256,
Okay, let's go to the next one then, which goes to 256.
What?
286.
I'm sorry, after the 200, everything after that's only $250 a foot.
Now, on Lake George, what would those numbers be? Just
Lake George, those numbers are
15,000, 10,000, 5,000.
$15,000 for the first, a foot for the first 50 feet, $10,000 a foot for the next 50 feet, $5,000 a foot for the next 50 feet. After that, it's $4,000 a foot.
all the way
Yeah.
to what forever.
Again, that would be maybe influence for topography or shape or, you know, something like that, along with how Glen Lake is.
Right.
So did it at 75%.
I did it, when I redid it, yes, I did it at 75% so she would match her neighbors.
Anyone who wanted to ride up to 2630 Dunham's, Route 9 and see the house at Dunham's Bay and 210 feet of lakefront and a covered boathouse and over an acre of property,
Yeah, just 26.
29, oh, I'm sorry.
Has that been
29.
recently sold?
2930, it was sold 4 years ago.
4 years.
2930.
2930 Route 9L on Lake George. You won't see the house from the road, you'll see the number. Then you pull into the driveway, and it's got a very steep
That's a
topography.
1980 contemporary with 1,975 square foot of living area.
The square footage is off.
We have 190 feet of waterfront at 50%.
You have only 1,900
the
square feet?
1,900 square feet.
It's 5 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It is not 1,900 square feet. You must not have counted the walkout basement. The walkout level has the kitchen.
We do have 5 bedrooms, but we don't have that they have a walkout basement.
The walkout basement is the kitchen, the living room, and the half bath, and the deck.
If they didn't get a building permit, then we don't.
No, it was like that when we bought it 13 years ago, 17 years ago.
We didn't have it then either.
It's an upside-down house. You walk in on the bedroom level, then you walk downstairs, there's a kitchen open to a living room, stone fireplace. Then you walk out on the deck, and that's your whole waterfront view.
So you know from experience?
I know from experience that that square footage is off. It's probably half of what it really is. Plus, he added a bath. He redid the whole thing inside. He gutted it. It's beautiful.
The only permits he's gotten was for a septic alteration in November, a deck in 2015, a dock in 2014, and a dock in 2002.
Does he need a permit to do interior renovations?
Depends on if you move electrical or plumbing.
He gutted it.
Well, I would think he would need it.
Well, I've seen it, and go peek in the windows. It's magnificent. But even if it weren't magnificent, the fact that he paid $875 for it, and his assessment's gone up how much since he bought it 5 years ago?
He paid,
No, more than five.
he paid $860. That was right off the 50.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we were asking $875.
And his assessment's $986.7.
Right. So what's the difference that his went up?
I can tell you,
Thank you.
it is 8%.
Oh, how about that? 8%, just like everybody else's. Why is ours 71%?
Because we found out inventory that we didn't have. You were way too low. That house was way too low before. We didn't find it.
And suddenly that's my problem, because the assessment's been wrong for years.
$1.25 million for it.
No, it doesn't go back to that. The other thing you mentioned,
does.
you mentioned what...
I'm not arguing with
It's
you.
my turn to talk now. Hello, I was talking. You talk,
You
now
can
let me
talk.
talk. You interrupted me.
Let's look,
Okay. You said the things that you discovered that you weren't aware of are updated bathrooms, maybe $2,000 tops, a stone patio, I don't know what that cost, and propane heat. So do you really think that increases our assessment by hundreds of thousands of dollars?
That's not all I said. I said updated interior. I didn't say just updated bathrooms. I said we had 2 full and 2 half, and that's not what we had.
I have the receipt.
Updated interior. I have a 500 square foot patio and propane heat. So yes, that's what I said.
okay, does your record show how much value you put on each of those topics?
No, because it's a total, a total value. I can go back to what we had before she purchased it. Okay, back to 14. We had 3 baths, 3.5 baths, 3,593 square footage. We didn't have any finished basement. We had electric heat. Did we have patio? We had a detached garage, which she still has. No generator, and that's what we had.
It always had a finished basement. All the bedrooms are down there. It always had a
That's
finished...
not how it was inventoried.
Right, but how is that suddenly my problem? That I'm taking the huge hit for the assessment being incorrect for years?
Let me add one
You are a
thing.
real estate agent, and you've seen the prices that some of the other houses on Glen Lake have gone for recently.
I have.
And they are sky high.
I know,
They are.
I know. And we have,
We're not that, I mean, I don't know the percentage increase, but what they've sold for in the last year it's astronomical.
I'm aware, I sold 4 of them.
Sure you
Yeah. But my issue with that is the houses that haven't sold recently that are nicer with more lakefront than mine, I feel like I'm being penalized because I recently purchased my house. That doesn't mean 3 houses down, their house isn't worth more than mine.
If they were to sell it today, what would they ask for it?
They could get probably 1.6. It's magnificent. And then some, but their assessment's only $850. That's my point.
It's demand and it's the ask, what people will pay for things, and they're paying.
All right, let me,
Given updates on those houses that are not on the record, their assessment wouldn't be going up. That's why their assessment is probably low.
this was a brand-new house. This house is 6 years old. There haven't been updates because they built it. It's beautiful. They haven't had to update it.
There's some beautiful homes on Glen Lake.
There are, but my point again, and I know I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but you all are wearing blazers. You all bought them at Target for $50. I like Steve's the best. I'm going to pay him $100.
So,
And they're all exactly the same blazers. You're all Glen Lake blazers. Yours is a different color. Yours is slightly different. However, the demand for blazers went up. Everybody's blazer is going to increase in value. Just because Steve's the only one that sold his doesn't mean yours didn't go up in value if there's a huge demand. There's a huge demand for waterfront property, all of it. You can't, well, you can, and you did. To single out people just because they bought in the last 2 years seems unfair, especially when I talk about the ones 286 feet of lakefront. Come on. The one on Dunham's Bay on Lake George?
Charlotte, we're really not, I'm really sensitive to what you're saying about the fairness issue. We discussed this, some of us, at different times, and it affects each one of us. I understand what you're saying. When I got the notice, I had some of the same reactions you're having. But what we're charged with on this board is really trying to determine what is your property worth, not if we find somebody else in your neighborhood or in anywhere in the town that is too low, we can't use that as a
and
justification
we can't raise it.
to lower you. That's not what we're charged with, and that we're reminded of that by law repeatedly over and over again. Our hands are tied. We have to ask you the simple question, what is your house worth? What would you sell it for
It's a fair
today?
market
And
value.
you have to present us with evidence showing, you're asking for 750. You have to show us that.
I said 750 because I was using the same percentage, the average percentage that you raised everybody else up.
I know, but that's, if you see what I mean, there's two.
I do.
And I'm sensitive to what you're saying, but I'm telling you, the argument that will carry us, that has to carry us, the only one that we can make a decision on is, what's your property worth?
You bought Steve Jakowski's on Secundawide, correct?
Excuse me?
Did you buy Steve Jakowski's house on Secundawide? Okay, 1.3 million, I believe, was it?
1.17.
Okay. Now, all the Secundawide homes at one point were similar, right? Steve put a ton of work into his. His is beautiful. And I get that. I get his is worth more than some of the other ones might be. But that doesn't mean the other Secundawide homes didn't increase in value dramatically because of the last year, COVID. Those should be worth, I'm not suggesting you raise their assessment. I'm suggesting that it's somehow, there has to be a balance.
They did all go up. This is what.
But did they go up as high as yours?
Dramatically.
They all went up dramatically.
75%?
Well, I mean, this is not really the issue, but I will tell you, ours went up the year we bought it to match the purchase price, and it went up this year over the purchase price. And we had a lot of discussions about that because it didn't seem quite right. That was just a year ago. But this is not really the issue. To discuss that with the assessor, I needed to try and come to terms with myself and with her about what is it worth, not the fairness thing, which I looked at, because there's a lot of that unfairness going on. We are trying all the time. That's what we're charged with.
How do we fix it? How do we fix?
That's what we're trying to do, but we can't fix it by raising them. We can
I'm not
fix that
proposing that.
having discussions and saying, let's get better.
Well, can't you compromise and just increase instead of 75%, maybe 50%? That's still dramatically more than everybody else.
That's something we may do. But the way you've asked for it, you've given us space. You said you'd like to have lower. We can never go lower than what you asked for, but we can go down to it or somewhere in between.
I went on the New York State, and I'm sure you've all read it too, NewYorkState.gov website about assessment, and this is directly off of that. It says New York State law requires all properties in your municipality except New York City and Nassau County to be assessed at a uniform percentage of market value each year. Uniform percentage of market value each year. This means all taxable properties in your city, town, or village must be assessed at market value or all the same uniform percentage of market value each year. So if property on Glen Lake shot up 50%, it did for everybody on Glen Lake, not just the ones that sold.
We've already been certified at 100% from the state.
Based on this valuation. We have a situation in the town of Stony Creek, I believe, has always recently.
They haven't done a reval ever.
2%.
Right.
2% of fair market value.
Is that what they are?
Yeah, it's always been really weird to try to sell something over there. And a couple of the others are 2, 3, 4%. So we've been at 100% for quite a while.
Right.
But then the state sometimes says, no, you're really at 82, you're really at 75. But what you're saying, they've just certified this revaluation that I didn't know about.
Is every single house in Queensbury or every single property? We could never be that good. We could never be that good, especially if we don't know the information going in.
But
We have the
you've given
correct
us an
information going in, hopefully we get the correct
By the way you
information
give
going
this
out.
form.
I also don't know how much weight you're giving to the past year being, and you know, incredibly insane for lakefront properties.
That has been, as much as you can, that's been dismissed. They're not.
Terry,
We've talked about that for a couple of days now.
Okay, and just one more thing. What if somebody sold their house for less than it's worth, less than they paid for it because they were sick? Does their assessment drop?
No.
You're basing it on sales price, doesn't drop?
It's not being.
The second time I ran her appraisal, and fairly said, the computer picks obviously the most comparable sale. So if the subject sales, it's going to pick that sale first as the first comparable. When I reran Mrs. Potvins, you can see it on your appraisal, I rejected her sale. It puts a lot of weight on the sale of the subject. We don't necessarily want to do that, especially when there's a discrepancy. So I rejected that, and that's one of the reasons we also went back down, we got down to the 1028.
But there's also a problem if somebody is sick and they just want to dump it on.
Well, that wouldn't be a valuation usable sale.
Right, so it has to be
A willing buyer, willing seller.
willing buyer, willing to, and under
Arm's
no
length.
duress, under no pressure to sell or to buy. And in the case of an illness, there's a lot of pressure. So that we can't
Can't be
even use.
family.
And just like a family sale, somebody that might sell.
Right, it has to be
A
arm's
family
length.
for
Right.
considerably
It has
less.
to be
than
arm's
that.
length.
Right.
Arm's length,
Before we can
right.
use it.
I know Terry used 7 Garrett Lane as a comp for ours. That house was on the market for $2.4 million. It's on a triple lot. It's over 4,000 square feet. Beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous house. I mean, I think it's 4 years old. They had offers over $2 million, but he didn't take them because he sold it to his sister for $1.1 million. She used that as a comp for my house.
That's not information that was on the 5217.
Well,
How would I know?
I'm just saying, that's why I'm here, to give you this information now.
So that sale would have actually brought her down.
Yeah.
Because the cost is so much more than what it sold for.
I know that you can't know everything about every house you assessed. I understand that. I understand it's a difficult process. But you also have to understand the range between the percentage of increase for houses that didn't sell versus what sold recently is just outrageous, really. 70% versus 9.5%.
None of us would have known that until you brought it to our attention. These are things we'll be considering.
Well, thank you for your time.
And we don't make
Yeah,
any decisions
it's an
tonight.
amazing market.
Oh, yeah. Those
It
that
is.
We have to go into a private discussion,
Okay,
without the assessor,
Amazing market.
without other people.
okay.
And
But, okay, just on a closing note, because I do know these houses, 95, we owned it for 4 years, it went up 85%. No garage, no basement, no nothing. 85%. It's a one-bedroom house.
I don't think we had it as a one-bedroom house. I
I
think
know you, because you look at the MLS, which,
we don't look at MLS.
oh, you told me you did. You said you saw,
No, when we have the information from the building permit, that's what first goes on. We need to verify.
but there's no building permit for this one-bedroom house. Where did you get that information?
From the building permit, whenever it was built.
It was always a one-bedroom house.
you're saying the house you own now?
The house that we sold for $600,000, their assessment went up 85% because they paid a lot of money to be on Glen Lake. I mean, it's a 1,200 square foot, one-bedroom, one-bath house with a loft upstairs, no garage.
And they paid for it. They paid.
They did.
Well,
I know, but they're assessed at the same,
value.
they're assessed at the same as some of the houses that have 3 bedrooms, 2-car garage, 2 baths, and level lakefront.
Right.
I guess I'm back to the same thing. The disparity is too great just because they bought last year. They're being penalized.
Happening on Lake George, it's happening because people are coming in and they're willing to
Right.
pay top dollar and they just, here's the cash.
Is it just coincidental that the
But
sales
then
took place
it
last year?
raises the value of all the
No, this has been
property.
happening all the time.
Demand is
It's
there.
a lot, it's,
No, it raises the cost of all the properties that sold. That's my point. It should raise the cost of all the properties.
But if those people that haven't sold went to sell their house, what would they ask for?
Guaranteed, there are several on the lake that are worth far more than mine.
Way up.
Yeah, 286 feet.
Yep,
Dr. Jim O'Keefe's house is magnificent. He's assessed for less than us.
never seen prices like that.
I know, it is crazy, but anyway. Thank you, thanks for your time.
Everything, well, look at everything. I would guess within 2 weeks you'll get a message.
Okay,
But
thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
Terry,
yeah.
what was the initial assessment before the stipulation offer?
11, oh, wait, hold on a second. 1,135,500.
1 point,
1.135,500.
oh. What was the 1.225 million?
That's what you paid for it.
That's what you paid for.
Yeah. And you've offered her 1.028400,
Paid for.
which is 200 less than she paid. 200 less than she paid.
It wasn't as nice as we thought it was.
Yeah, but it's 200 less than she paid. I mean,
She said she overpaid.
Lord.
Mr. Abbott?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm sorry, we're in the middle of a conversation.
You guys have more stuff to do with than I would even know.
We'll get to just as quickly as we get these papers organized.
And we're going to give you just as much time as you need.
Do you want my paperwork?
Yes.
Yeah,
Where do you want it?
just keep them somewhere they don't get mixed up. Because that happens sometimes, then we're in trouble.
No problem.
Frank Abbott, correct?
That's me. Oh, yep.
Do you have a number on this one?
Just to keep on.
Tax map number
Yes.
is 308.7-1-12,
What's the address?
9 Woodshire Court.
Oh, where is that?
It's off of Sherman.
Off Sherman,
Okay.
Okay, if you please use the microphone and give us your name and your home address.
Frank Ovid, 9 Woodshire Court, Queensbury, New York, 12804.
Okay. I have to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the information you're about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll bring
Now,
you there. Yeah,
We don't know
Mr.
anything about you or your property right now.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Thank you.
He has a colonial that was built in 2007. Natural gas, heat, central air. He has 2838 per square footage, 2838, with a 1,300 square foot finished basement. That includes, and you'll see the pictures in here, includes, like a wet bar and stuff down in the basement.
But is that included in the 2838?
No, it's not a walkout basement.
Plus, okay.
It is a walkout?
No.
It is not.
No.
Not walkout, okay.
This is the appraisal I did. Here.
You bought it in 2007?
No, we bought it in 2016.
16, okay.
Yes, ma'am. And the basement was fully finished
Yeah,
when
it
we,
was.
finished when we purchased the house.
Oh,
And it's only probably about 60% of the basement. The rest of it is still unfinished.
We usually use, I'm just going to calculate it, but we usually use 75%, but let me just see what this
Yeah.
is. Did you say 60%?
I would say roughly 60%. It's a little bit over 50, but it's not 75.
Okay, we have 1,300. If it was 60%, it'd be 1,100.
Do you have the complaint form?
He should have it.
I just put it on your desk right there.
Remember, he gave it to you?
I've got the file.
No, but he gave it to you and set it on your desk.
Yep, it's right there next to that. It was, I think somebody took it, it was right there. It was already on top of that.
Complaint form, yes.
yes, I've got it.
I took it when I wasn't looking.
It's been a long day.
385?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't want to get mixed up. You purchased it for how much?
385,000.
2000.
It's assessed right now?
2016.
I purchased it in 2016, yes.
It's assessed right now for,
It wa-
426?
It was 391 since 2017, actually, and this year it's 426.6. So
426.6.
it went up $35,600. That's 9%.
And you're asking 400.
Yeah, I mean, I understand everything goes up. I understand that the real estate market is absolutely insane right now. I totally understand it. That's why, 391 last year was assessed at 391. To have the house jump that significant in 1 year. And then, the reasoning behind the jump is square footage that I cannot recoup any kind of fiscal gains from if I go to resell the house. Any realtor will tell you that unless you have a walkout basement, the square footage is moot. It's not counted. The property next to me had a finished basement as well, a little bit less square footage, and that right there, that piece of paper I brought with me, that house just sold for $339.
Wow.
And they have a full finished basement just like I do.
What one's that?
That's 3 Woodshire Court. It's my neighbor's house.
Here it says 359.
359, I'm sorry. I have a lot of numbers jumbling around in my head this afternoon.
That's all we've been doing all day.
When I called to make my appointment and they said you guys are here from the morning till night, I'm like, wow.
and you might be our last one. right?
Well, I certainly hope so, and I hope you guys can go out and,
Only one day.
get a refreshment.
We can handle it.
Yep.
That sold in
Charity's
September.
been working.
That one sold in September for $359.
Yep.
I do have finished basement, but it only has 2,000 square feet in the 2 floors. He has
So-
2,800 square feet.
So another, and, that's I don't understand, another 800 square feet, not counting my basement, jumps my tax bracket that high. And that I won't, there's no way I could live, if I could sell that house right now for $500,000, please somebody give me their business card. Because I'd walk away a smiling guy, trust me.
It's possible the taxes themselves may not go up much, if at all,
Well, that's,
because the total value of the assessed properties, total assessed value of the properties in Queensbury have gone up so much last year.
yep.
When it gets divided up, the tax rate may be, pretty low.
Well, that's why I'm here. I can't go on a may not go up type thing, you know?
We don't
It's-
know.
It's,
We don't know until all the people put their numbers together and their budgets together.
yep, and my taxes are, it's an integral part of my mortgage, so if my taxes
Yep.
take a huge hit, I'm gonna take a huge hit myself, And that's, and again, I wouldn't be here, having a conversation if I didn't know that I couldn't recoup that. I can't list it as 1,300 square foot finished basement because there's no egress and there's no walkout.
But you could still list it probably.
It does add value. I'm not saying it doesn't. I totally agree with everyone saying that it adds value to the house because it does. But that, $35,000 worth of value, I don't think so. Maybe if it was fully finished, yeah. But not being fully finished, having the one half of the basement still, the furnace room and for storage, and no walkout.
But Terry said that the basement isn't included in the 2838.
It isn't.
Right.
But they're basing my assessment on the fact that my finished basement adds value to my home. That's exactly what Terry told me on the phone.
It does.
Okay.
Here's a woman who sells a lot of residential property. Would a finished basement add value?
It does a little. I mean,
Right.
it's not walkout, so it doesn't.
Exactly.
You can't count it as actual, but, people, it's just like a pool.
Right.
You get somebody that wants a finished basement, they're gonna pay more.
And the thing
If
is-
somebody wants
Yep.
a pool, they're gonna pay more. If they don't care about a finished basement, it's not gonna count.
And they don't,
So you gotta kinda-
Yep. It's kind of a gray area. I totally
is.
understand it, but,
Definitely.
the initial call, when I called the assessor's office first, she's like, well, they can't really count your basement, but then when I talked to Terry, and I'm not trying to, be negative, but we're counting your basement because it adds value. I said, I agree, but not $35,000 worth of value.
But that's not the whole
But- right,
increase
yeah.
in the value.
You have to go
Is
with.
it?
No, 'cause he's always had- no.
9%,
Correct.
That's not.
We've always had him as having a finished basement.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you
but
gotta
just
go
to
with
let,
inflation, and you have 28, almost 2,900 square feet.
Right.
It's a big house.
But that's the point I'm making. It went up 9%, not solely because.
oh,
of
no,
the
no, no.
finished
No,
basement.
it'd be just because the total value went up
Yeah, that's
9%.
Like I said,
But
yeah.
It's been, but it didn't only go up in 1 year. It's been 391 since 2017.
I just don't see, I don't see it in my neighborhood. The houses that have sold in that neighborhood are not selling for that kind of money.
Not.
And everybody knows, you're in real estate, everybody here is very familiar with real estate. This is gonna end sometime, where there's no inventory and high demand. It's not gonna be here forever, and then, I'm gonna be the one left sitting on a house that everybody says is worth more than
Unless you
it's worth for.
try to figure out the peak and sell right then.
Exactly. Like I said, if $500,000, please, if, I'll sell it to you right now.
If you, maybe you should list it tomorrow and see what happens.
Yeah.
Might be
But it's
surprised.
only at 426.6. I mean, don't you feel you could sell that house for 426?
Not in the neighborhood, not with the house right next door that looks as, on the exterior, looks as nice as my house that just sold for $359.
But that's only 2,000 square feet.
And then there's a house right next to me, my other neighbor, 15 Woodshire. He has 5 bedrooms. His is a 5-bedroom house, and his sold in 2017 for $299, or excuse me, 19, for $299,000.
That was a bank sale.
This is a,
Oh, it was a bank sale.
It was a bank
That makes
sale.
difference.
But still, his value, if you look on the listing right now, if you look at the estimate value of his house, it's not even close to mine, and it's got an additional bedroom. And the listings are screwed up anyways, because it says my house is a 3-bathroom, and it's not. It's 2.5.
What do you have in the record? You have 3 or 2.5?
I got to go back to that now because I was looking at the other
That
one.
might make a difference.
3,
I have 2.5.
You have 2.5, okay.
yeah.
It says it right on the appraisal.
Yep, it's 2.5.
I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
I just tried to do as much research as I could with
Right,
everything that's in my
we're trying to help
neighborhood.
everybody be fair. Sometimes we find things that weren't there before.
Mhm.
It's always possible.
Yep, I know, I understand. That's, like I said, that's why I'm not trying to, be argumentative. I'm just pleading my case to you the best I
We
can.
appreciate it.
would really appreciate
Sometimes
that.
you run into people who are upset with us.
I'm
Had a
sure.
few of those.
I'm sure. I hope there's coffee in that mug.
I'm off duty at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock.
Oh, my goodness.
Because the other comparables are not on Woodshire, and you've given us a
Yeah,
couple of
Richmond, yeah.
ideas on
Yep.
Woodshire, which is important too.
And there's some other houses that have sold in the previous years on our street, and then obviously right around the corner, that have sold, that are they're the same exact design and build as my house. So, because one builder started the neighborhood, and then
Right.
another builder took over, then another builder took over. So the houses do vary a bit, but the ones on Woodshire and on Westbury are pretty much the same builder. Lack
Is
of the
that
two
Harry
brand new
Blue?
ones. It was,
No.
the original builder was
It was Ferone.
Ferone.
Are you way around the back where it gets very wet?
Nope, I'm actually the second house in on Woodshire, so I'm right off Upper Sherman, the second house. Yep,
So,
Yeah, there's a
On
couple
the right.
here
On
on
the left.
Westbury, and you said that they're the same.
Yep.
They look the same
yep,
too.
exactly. They're
and
the
then the
same-
other
same style.
two are Richmond Hill, which is like the next street
Oh,
over.
it is, so that's.
And they're brand new.
You live near Malacan,
I believe so, yes, yep.
I know where
Yep, like I said, Richmond Hill is all a new neighborhood, so those are all recently built houses.
Okay.
Well, one of the Richmond Hill that we compared you to was a 2008
Was an
build.
eight-
But
was
the
it-
other one was 2018.
2008 on Richmond Hill,
2006.
54 Richmond Hill was built in 2008.
one of the early.
when it was one of the
Both
first
of them
ones.
are
yeah.
2000.
Because then they went to John Paul Builders or something like that.
Yeah, now it's somebody else. I think there's
Yeah.
a fourth person now that's building
Yep.
houses over there, but.
Yep.
Any further questions? Do you have any questions of us?
I don't. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll go into seclusion and
Thank you for the nice conversation.
No problem. I appreciate it.
It'll take until it's 8 o'clock at night. They usually take a couple weeks, and then you'll get a notice in the mail.
That's fine. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Have a nice night.
thank you. We have no one else scheduled. We have to stay till 8, correct, in case somebody walks in.
Jess, you can go, though. Just go. No. You don't have to stay.
Yeah, guys.
Turn this
She's
on.
on the clock. Are you on the clock? Are you getting paid by the hour? Stay as long as you want. Stay as long as you want. I have no authority.
Nice job.
I got it.
Thanks, guys.
I got it, but take the donuts and stuff there right now.
I got that.
All right, okay.
Nothing in here? Okay.
No, because I brought a bunch of that stuff over before, the other files. See you in the morning.
All right, got
I'll be late.
it. Yes. I'll leave early, so you can tell.
I have to watch the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch.
What's that?
That's a series that's on.
Of what ranch?
It's on about 15 or 20 weeks a year. And they have outer space stuff. And they have radiation coming from the ground.
All right.
Now, the people who wrote The Curse of Oak Island,
That's what my husband
that is a
watches.
fabulous story. And you can go back if you.
Is it?
That.
That's what my husband, it's Tuesday nights too, isn't it, or something?
Watch every one of
The Skinwalker Ranch, does that have stuff to do with like?
That's a good show.
these. Supposedly, yeah, but they're finding stuff.
I don't like
So there's-
like
It's nonfiction.
that.
Peter, have you watched Skinwalker Ranch? A little bit,
It's not fiction,
nonfiction. Curse of Oak Island is also nonfiction.
Right.
Will you cut us off
Thank
here
you for diffusing that.
before somebody sees me saying all this?